ridiculous to the Go Terrapins and Travis Garrison. Hey, bro, I definitely appreciate you joining the show, man. I know you got a busy schedule, but you took time out to join, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man, definitely. As soon as I saw, what you were doing when I saw the little link on Facebook, I said, "Oh man, I love what you're doing," and I appreciate you having me on because I know, there's so many guys that you could call and reach out to. I'm honored to be a part of it.
Nah, man, I appreciate you, man. It's been cool for me because, yeah, I went to Maryland, but to hear the stories, to talk to guys that came before me, the guys that came after me, to hear the backstories, to hear about things that they got going on now, man. It's been pretty cool, man. I've been enjoying it, and somebody asked me to do it. I was hesitant at first, man, but I'm glad I decided to do this, man.
Yeah, man, it's a great way to stay connected. I think we all can do a little bit of a better job of making sure we all stay connected because, us Maryland Terps, man, we're a family, and
Right.
got to do a better job of just making sure everybody stays connected and we look out for each other.
Absolutely. I know we see each other on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, but like we never had these type of conversations or we don't have the face to face like this. Obviously, with everything going on, everything's Zoom now, man.
Yeah, it's interesting times, man. Interesting times, but we're gonna get through it. But yeah, man, I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. Have you been keeping up with this year's team and what do you think about it?
Little bit, probably not as much as in previous years. Obviously, given with what I do, now being an NBA scout, I'm always ripping and running, watching through a whole bunch of college and NBA games. But I've been keeping up with them. It seems like hopefully they'll get a chance to get inside the NCAA tournament, and then you know how it is, Trav. Like once you get in there, you never know. Hopefully
Exactly.
you get hot and you can run off a couple of games and all of a sudden make it a really special year.
Right, absolutely, man. I know like last year, man, was crazy because I was watching them and following them a little bit, and to see them get as far as they did, and everybody talking them they might have a chance to win it all, and then the pandemic happened, man, and it kind of just shut down everything. When they was hot, like you said, they had a great opportunity last year for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's and for us guys, for all college kids, you only get 4 goes at it, and it goes by like this. You and I both know. See,
Right.
1 second you're walking on the college campus, moving into your dorm. The next thing you know, man, it's senior night, and you're walking out there with your people to center court. You're like, man, where did it all go?
Right.
Man, it's really unfortunate situation for a lot of people. Obviously, for the Terps last year, because it did look like they were building towards something special. But everybody's got to keep pushing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like you said, hopefully they can make that run and get hot because this is the perfect time. Like you said with college basketball, man, they already won a number of big games against some top teams, man. And if they can get hot, like I said, right now is a great time to do it. Going into tournament time, it'll be special, and hopefully it does happen for them. What do you think about in regard to the state of college basketball now, man, with no fans, man? Just think about back when you were playing at the Cole Field House. Imagine if there was no fans there, man. Like just I know it's important that everybody, stay healthy and things like that, man. But just the state of college basketball is just it's foreign right now because there's no fans at all.
Yeah, the atmosphere is just different. To be honest, up until you just asking me this question, I don't think I ever thought about like what it would be like if when we were in college, if that happened. It was just what we were used to. For my first 3 years playing in front of 15,000 fans at Cole Fieldhouse, that hot, sweaty gym. There's no AC. And then even when we moved into the Comcast Center, man, we had 18,000 just about every night, ready to go for us. And even on the nights sometimes when we didn't have it, we always had them behind our back, ready to push us to make sure we'd get that win. So for these guys this year, man, crazy and difficult.
Right, absolutely, man. I was talking to a few people and just and watching it, your bench has to be into it. They're your biggest fans. So whoever has the loudest bench, who's cheering them more, they're the home team, whether you're on the road or not. They become the home team, and it's like dependent on that. And you see a lot of top teams that used to be top teams now with no fans, it seems like they ain't even rank no more. You got the Dukes, the Kentuckys, the Memphis, like so many of these teams they're not doing as good as they once did years prior.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it goes back to your point. Like, think about the atmospheres in some of those arenas. Think about Cameron Indoor. Think about Allen Fieldhouse at Kansas, North Carolina, playing in the Dean Dome. I remember the first time walking in Dean Dome and seeing just that blue just all over. It was crazy. And then, you mix in 20,000, 22,000 fans and it just becomes a super tough out, no matter who they've got on that other side of the ball. So yeah, man, it's interesting, man. It's really, really interesting.
Absolutely, man. So what made you choose Maryland, and what other schools would you considering if you didn't go to Maryland? If it wasn't Maryland, where were you going?
Yeah, like taking it back, man. I wasn't a McDonald's All-American like yourself.
There you go.
I didn't have every school knocking at my door, but you know what it came down to me? My final two choices, I'm from Long Island, New York, and at the time, Jay Wright was at Hofstra, who's obviously now at Villanova. Mm-hmm. And I grew up with Speedy Claxton. Me and Speedy played, grew up in the same town, and he was kind of like the guy who I like idolized. Always looking up, and he was going to be a senior on that Hofstra team. And Jay Wright had been recruiting me ever since I was like 9th grade. So it just came down between Maryland and Hofstra for me. And the only reason why I really chose Maryland was just because it was the ACC. Having that chance to play in the Cameron Indoors and play against Virginia, Carolina, and all those great schools.
So what was that transition like when you obviously left high school, but then you get onto campus and now you're a Terp, and then you got that team there, and then you got Coach Williams there. What was that first year experience like for you?
Nah, man, I got to take it back even further than that. I remember after I had committed, me and Steve Blake, we both came on a visit during Midnight Madness.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, walking down and seeing all those fans, and I was like, I don't know what I just got myself into. And on top of that, this is the year when they had Steve Francis, LaRon Prophet, Terrence Morris. Mm-hmm. I'm watching Steve go crazy at Midnight Madness, taking off from like the dotted,
right.
doing everything. And I'm like, I'm supposed to come behind this dude? I'm nervous, Trav. I'm nervous. I'm like, man, I'm ready for this. Right. I get myself into. I probably should have stayed at Hofstra, but to answer your question, man, like that first year, you just coming in, eyes wide open, just trying to take in as much information as possible, try to get better every day, and just try to get acclimated as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, man. Because I do remember, coming on campus and seeing you guys doing open gym. This is before I even committed. And just seeing y'all atmosphere and seeing y'all team. So what was that like, man? What was the practices like? What was that intensity like? Because like I said, man, y'all had such a great team with great competitors, man. So what was that atmosphere like? And I'm pretty sure, Coach A had to do a lot of coaching because you guys were so on point, and y'all kind of like build on each other. Y'all was a family, So what was that experience like?
Going through it at the time, I remember it just kind of being normal. But now that I'm removed from it and thinking back on the group and thinking about the guys that we had and like what we did, not only on the floor, but also off the floor, it was special, man. And probably I think one of the biggest things in terms of our success was our work ethic. It was normal every night, after practice. I'm talking about 10, 11 o'clock at night for there to be 5 or 6 guys in the gym, because everybody had aspirations of playing at the next level. And so Juan would be in there, Lonnie would be in there. And then all of a sudden it just started trickling down to everybody else because you didn't want to be the one left out. You know what I mean? Like you didn't want to be the one sitting in the apartment or sitting in the dorm and the guy who's playing in front of you. I was behind Juan for 3 years. I know Juan's in the gym getting up 300-400 shots. Man, why aren't I in the gym?
Right.
So then everybody would start going. Me and Steve would go together. And then before you know it, it was like 6 or 7 of us, of all the guys that really played and really wanted to take their games to the next level. Everybody was just locked in and committed.
Right. And I used to see that sometimes. I used to come up there and watch you guys play over jump sometimes. I'd be at the mat and then I'd shoot down there. And I seen that. I seen guys sometimes, man, when the lights go out, standing there getting shots up. It was a great thing to watch, man. And then to see that transition every year, y'all was getting better and better. So what was that like, man? You seeing, I mean, obviously the experience plays a big part, guys are there a little longer. So what was that experience like when y'all got to the Final Four, and then y'all end up going and then obviously win it all? What was that each year? What was that them stages like?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Because so my freshman year, we made the tournament. We got knocked out in the second round to a super talented UCLA team. I mean, Earl Watson, Jerron Rush, Dan Gedzuric, Jerome Moiso, Capono. I mean, they were stacked, and they blew us out the frame by like 35 in the second round. And so the next year, coming into our sophomore year, we knew we had all the pieces, and we were able to make that run to the Final Four. And then kind of going off of that, then we only lost Terrence Morris, right? From that Final Four team, but we had Chris Wilcox.
Right.
And I remember the summer going into that year when we won the national championship, like I never saw somebody take such a leap in their game than Chris did. It was just like all of a sudden overnight he was ready, and we were like, man, this dude ain't gonna be here long. And right. and as good as of a player as T-Rock was, Terrence was all ACC player. We were like, we're gonna be all right. We got right. Chris as well as Taj, and so we knew we had a special chance, and that just kind of made us lock in even more, and building off that experience of getting to the Final Four, kind of knowing what it was like, and then we knew we could do something special.
We'll get back to the show in a minute, but first, let me tell you about our partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook. With March Madness beating down our door, DraftKings is the best way for you to get in on a little action on the game. If you have not downloaded the DraftKings Sportsbook app yet, what are you waiting for? It's the safest, it's the most secure, it's reliable, and it allows to safely deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. And this week, they are offering my listeners a pretty sweet deal. If you sign up now with the promo code FIELD68, you can turn $1 into $100. If one of the main event fighters in UFC 159 this weekend lands a single punch, that's it. One punch to turn $1 into $100. And don't worry, if MMA isn't your thing, DraftKings Sportsbook offers odds and promos on basketball, hockey, or whatever your sport you're watching. But since they're basically giving away $100, you might as well sign up now. Watch a little UFC, and remember to use the promo code FIELD68. That's FIELD, FIELD 68. Must be 21 years or older. Offer available for a limited time only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Yeah, and I saw that, man. Like I said, I was at those games. I was, in the Cofield house when y'all was making those when y'all get to play against Duke, and then seeing y'all go from the Final Four. Then that year when y'all won the championship, how crazy that was. Y'all last game in Cofield house, how crazy that was. Yeah. What was that like, bro? Like I said, every time I went to y'all games at Cofield house, it was crazy. Like you said, it's super hot. I'm in there with sweat clothes on, but I had to take it off because it's so hot in there. But just the atmosphere was crazy, man. And so what was that? What was playing at Cofield house like for you? And what was the last game in Cofield house like for you? What was that experience like for you?
I mean, playing in Cole and getting a chance to run out of that tunnel, it probably still gives me chills to this day, man, just because, like, there was nothing like it. You knew, like, we had 15,000 and they were going to be loud. They were going to be rowdy. And it was our environment. And, the year that we won the championship, we went undefeated. Like, nobody came in our house and beat us. And, like, we just knew that every time we stepped on that floor, like, wasn't nobody going to touch us.
Right.
So, it was great, man. Just really, really special. And then the final game, actually, I think it was personally my best game of that year. I came off the bench, and I was kind of like the first guard off the bench. And I remember I had a double-double. I had 16 and 10. Mm-hmm. And we blew out Virginia, who then was, one of our rivals. I think we beat them by a cool 30 or 40 piece.
Yeah. Now that game, I was at that game. That game was crazy. It was crazy, man. And then even after the game was over, bro, like everybody just kind of stayed there just to take in, then obviously the history of Cofield House, and then knowing that was the last game and that whole experience, man. Everybody kind of didn't want to see it end, but it was what it was, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So then we go from there. Y'all win the national championship. Now you're going to Cofield House. What was that like? So you've seen the era of Cofield, and now we're in Comcast.
Yeah.
So that transition. So you history, man. You was one of the last players to play at Cofield House, and one of the first to play one of the first to play at Comcast, opening up that arena. I remember the first game that we played there. What was that? That was crazy. So what was that like? What was that experience like?
Man, it was great, man. Just because obviously the fan base was there. You know, we're coming off of a Final Four and a national championship. So, you know, around DC, we were the hot ticket. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the Baltimore Ravens. It wasn't the Washington Redskins or the Wizards. Right. It was us. Right. So, like, we had those guys coming to watch us play. And for me personally, man, it was a great transition because, you know, like I stated before, you know, I played behind Juan for 3 years, and all 3 of those years were in Cole Fieldhouse. And now all of a sudden my senior year, it's like, all right, I get my opportunity to really shine. And plus we're going into this new building. So it was great, man. And I actually loved Comcast just because, one, you know, as great as Cole was, the floors were a little hard. And the rims weren't as soft. I got in Comcast for whatever reason, man. Them rims in Comcast, they just seemed as big as an ocean, man, and they were soft. Right. So as a shooter, man, I was like, yeah, I could definitely do my thing in here.
Right. So now, because I was part of this, so you go, like I said, you go from winning the national championship. You got experienced players. Now it's your senior year. Now you have us coming in, the freshmen.
Yep.
It's different now. Now it's not, y'all don't have that experience no more. Y'all kind of got to be the teachers, whereas y'all always kind of on the same level. You guys are all experienced. Now y'all just coming up national championship. Now you got the young guys coming in. Now you got to teach them, and now you got to try to teach them fast because it's our senior year, and y'all trying to make another run at it. So what was that process like for you and trying to get things going, especially your last year?
It was, honestly, it was a little bit tough because on the one hand, you know, I was looking at it, you know, hey, man, it's my senior year. You know, we got to go out. We got to do everything we can possible. But then at the same time, you know, I could relate. I could relate to being a freshman and not necessarily maybe not fully understanding exactly like what everything that entails to be like for us to play at the level in which we needed to be. And, you know, I definitely tried my best in terms of, you know, getting all you guys up to speed and trying to get you guys to understand, hey, man, like, I know, you know, you guys got a chance to see all of our success and everything, and everybody loves us now, but like, there's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of unseen stuff that you got to be able to do, and you got to be able to sacrifice in order to be at this point. And, you know, and so for you guys, I know it was tough, man, because it was kind of like everything was kind of like given to you almost in a sense, in which like, you know, you didn't have to build it all up and kind of understand what it was, but it was great, man. You know, just trying to be somewhat of a big brother, as well as, you know, making sure I go out there and handle my business and make sure we try to get as many wins as possible.
Absolutely, man. I know for me personally, I know what you guys try to do for me, and, you know, especially like Taj, because he was my position. So the stuff that, you know, we used to get into it in practice and stuff like that. And you guys teaching us. A lot of times it was the stubbornness going in and thinking we know everything, and that experience. And I was just telling G-Dub, I was talking to him, and I was just, you know, apologizing, like, man, you know, I wish I would have listened more and took your advice. And, you know, but I thought I knew it all. I thought I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Wanted to have fun. But like you said, man, y'all built that up to a certain point. So y'all was expecting us to come along and basically to get it. And so that was definitely, it was a great experience playing with you guys, because like you said, coming off the success you guys had and seeing you guys, that experience that you guys had. So I know I learned a lot. You know, I probably didn't utilize it as much as I should have during that time, but I've seen the way y'all went into things and the mindset you guys had. And but yeah, man, so now I definitely appreciate it. So we go into the tournament, our first game, bro. We're in the tournament. We're in the tournament, our first game. and it's a tight one. It's a tight one. Like I said, I just won a national championship the year before, so everybody was expecting you guys us to go on another run, and we down to the wire to a point we might be getting knocked out the first game, bro, of the tournament. You get the ball in your hands. I just seen it not too long ago too, bro. You get the ball in your hands. So what is your? I know what your mindset is. You're trying to get it in before we can get this game. What was that experience? What was that like? And then when you made it, what was that feeling like? Knowing it was your senior year, knowing what you just did for us to move on.
Yeah, man. Again, I gotta take you back just a little bit. Like even before, after the kid made the 2 free throws, I remember we called the timeout, and I remember I had a moment in the huddle. I was like, man, this is my senior year. Like, we're not about to go out like this. Like, not just coming off of a national championship and all the success that we had, and me trying to, being one of the leaders of the team. Like, no, it's not gonna go like this. So I remember walking out of the huddle. And me and Taj are kind of walking together. And I tell Taj, because originally the play was for Steve. Steve was supposed to get the ball. If you go back and you watch the play, like there's a little screen set and Steve's supposed to get it, but they kind of deny him well. And I told Taj, I said, man, if Steve doesn't get it, I'm coming back for it. He said, all right, I got you. All right. Sure enough, play comes out. Steve gets denied. I get it. And then, like you said, man, everything just kind of goes black. I know I had a little less than 5 seconds. I got to get it up as fast as I can, and I got to try to get a shot off.
Right.
And I had never shot a shot like that before, running one leg, fading away to the baseline. But man, like when that thing went in, whew, I just wanted to get out of there. And that's why you see me take off to the tunnel, because the rest wasn't.
Hey, we all did. We all took over there. I remember Coach telling us come back. So I thought they was going to call that back. But, when we ended up getting that W, man, which was a huge, because we ended up playing Xavier the next day, and then we played Michigan State and lost to them in the Sweet 16. So now you're done at Maryland. Yeah. You're going on, getting ready for the draft, and that pro experience. What was that experience like, and what was that transition like, knowing the career that you had at Maryland, and now you're moving on to the next phase?
I was, as far as what my career was like in Maryland, I was satisfied. I knew that, Final Four, national championship, and then, playing like I did my senior year, I felt like, hey, with one full year of me starting, like I did almost everything that I thought that I could do. And then I knew kind of my chances of making the league were on the slim side, just because I was an undersized shooting guard. But, I knew that, I looked at it as a business. I said, man, like, all right, well, I'm about to be a professional now. So, and I know I've got X amount of years that I can play this game. So I'm going to try to make as much money as I can, wherever that takes me. So I always knew that potentially going overseas was an option.
What was your, because I remember that. I remember this. I mean, I seen your story. I seen that process in regards to your first year, and then how it was stepping stone. It was something that I know I looked at coming out, and coming out of Maryland, seeing the progress that you made, and then where you ended up at. Right. So what was that overseas experience like? And because you played on pretty much, man, you played on a lot of top teams, bro, and you won a lot of championships. So what was that like, man, for people that may not know?
Man, I mean, I can tell you just kind of, from my first, second, third year, like there was always this chip on my shoulder, because, like even going back to high school, I wasn't the most highly touted recruited kid. Even in college, people didn't think that I was good enough to play at Maryland. And now all of a sudden, I'm playing at the pro level, and, obviously the NBA told me I wasn't good enough to play in the NBA. So I always had a really, really big chip on my shoulder to try to keep proving people wrong. And so, my first 3 years, man, I killed it. I think, I don't know if there's anybody else that's done it, but I went from leading the second division in Italy in scoring to leading the first division in Italy in scoring, and then getting my chance at my first year at the EuroLeague level. I led the EuroLeague in scoring. So, I mean, every year I was on a mission, and I just wanted to prove to people that, I could play.
Right. Like I said, man, I know I followed it, because I think when I came out, I know you were still playing, because I know you did Italy. Yep. You did Israel, right? You did Israel.
Oh, I played 3 years in Italy, and then I went to Turkey for 2. I played at Efes Pilsen for 2, and then I went Then I went to Greece and played at Panathinaikos for 3, which was
And you,
around, pretty much the pinnacle.
and you was around. You won championships every year when you was in Panathinaikos, right?
Yeah, so I won my third year in Italy when I was in the first division. We won the Italian League Championship. Then when I was in Turkey, we won a cup. And then every year in Greece, we won all 3 years the Greek Championship, and we won 2 Euro Leagues and 1 or 2 cups. I think 1 cup. I think.
Right. Was Jessica Cavagers on your team during that time?
Yeah. So Sarunas was he was on my team the first 2 years, definitely the first year. It might have been 2, I think. But yeah, man, and he's like a legend overseas. Obviously now he's the coach of Barcelona and he's killing it as a coach. But I mean, as far as a playing career over there, I mean, he's as big as it gets. I remember my first year in Greece. No, it was my second year. So this is how I know we played 2 years. I remember we had a little break because we didn't make the EuroLeague Final Four. And so we had a couple of days off, and I decided to go over to Israel with him. And he had played in Israel before with Maccabi Tel Aviv, and he won 2 straight EuroLeague titles with Maccabi. And Travis, when I tell you, like, as soon as we stepped off the airplane, there was paparazzi waiting for us. Like, he's that kind of guy. And everywhere where we went for those 48, 72 hours, we'd be sitting down at lunch, and we'd look over our shoulder. There'd be people, like, snapping pictures and trying to figure out, like, is Cyrus coming back to Maccabi?
Right.
Crazy.
And that's crazy because I know you played at Maryland, but he didn't play a lot at Maryland, correct? He didn't play a lot at Maryland. And that's how I heard the story. Like, he was at Maryland, he didn't really play a lot, but he went overseas just.
Yeah. It was a lot like the situation like myself. Like, I think he only started his senior year. And he had like a pretty good year his senior year. And then once he went overseas, his game just took off.
Yeah, because I remember we played it. I didn't play that game, but we played against Panathinaikos, and he was there. And I was trying to chop it up with him, like, yo, I went to Maryland too, woo woo. But I definitely, like I said, man, cautionary stories when you hear about guys, especially from here, or that played at Maryland to go overseas and have great careers like you did. So what was your favorite country or experience overseas? I know obviously winning championships, but what was that? Because you played in some crazy environments, bro. So
I mean, my best 3 years definitely was at Panathinaikos when I was at Greece, just because we were winning and I loved the country. Warm weather, the sun was always out, so it was a nice lifestyle. I mean, but in terms of crazy stories, man, oh goodness, I got so many of them. All right, here, I'll give you one. So, and Greece was wild, man. I mean, like, there were some gyms where, like, you'd be playing in small packed arenas with maybe like 1,000, 1,500. And I remember there was this one gym where, like, the fans were kind of on top of you. And fans in Greece are disrespectful, man. Like, you could be taking the ball out of bounds on the side and they'll be trying to spit on you. Like, spit on you.
That's
and
crazy.
You, like, back home in the States, man, God forbid if somebody ever tried to spit on you, like,
right.
Stands, but you had to think twice because there was 1,000 of them.
Right. Right.
No, but again, go back to the crazy story, man. So I remember we played our rival Olympiacos in the final, and the fans are so crazy over there that anytime when Panathinaikos and Olympiacos played, no fans from Olympiacos could come to Panathinaikos gym, and vice versa. Because I guess a couple of years prior at a volleyball game or something, somebody had actually died. Like, that's how serious they take it. Like, they're to the death, essentially, like, in terms of fans. And so we're getting ready to come out game 4. We're up 2-1. It's a best of 5 series. And as soon as we come out onto the court, I mean, the fans, they just start throwing stuff at us. And I'm not talking about like little pieces of paper. I'm talking about stuff that, like, if it hits you, like, you may have to go to the hospital. So we had to go back into the locker room, wait like an hour, come back out. They evacuated probably like 30% of their hooligans. We start playing. Then it gets to like almost towards the end of the game. There's a minute left. We're up 7. They're like, man, forget this. They start throwing again. I mean, like, literally, it's tense. Like, man, like, we don't know if we're going to be able to get out of here.
That's crazy.
Go back in the locker room. Now the game was like a 9:00 start. man, it's like 12:30 at night. And we're just trying to finish up this game. And we never even got to finish it. The Greek Federation just called it off and gave us the championship. So that's probably one of the craziest stories for me over there, man. It was nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like I know when I was over there, man, it was the same thing, like you said, but it was, I think something happened and no fans were allowed at the games because James was playing with Pontenecos when he was over there, and no fans were allowed in the games because, like you said, how crazy they can get. Y'all can't even finish games at times.
Yeah.
So what you got going on now? What are you doing now? I know you said you're scouting. So what's that been like? You your first year doing it, or?
No, so this is my 5th year. You know, 3 years, yeah, I was a scout with the Timberwolves, and then for the past 2, last year and this year, I'm a scout with the Philadelphia 76ers. So, you know, man, it's been great, man. Just being able to stay around the game and go to all these arenas, obviously, until, you know, COVID shut everything down. Being able to go to college NBA games and seeing so many guys that you played against, or, you know, coaches, et cetera, just kind of the basketball family. It's been awesome, man.
Man, that's definitely great to hear, man. Like I said, man, I definitely appreciate you joining the show, man. Thank you for your time, bro, man. I appreciate you for everything that you did for me, man, at Maryland, and, you know, the great career you had overseas, man, and especially what you're doing now, and, you know, your beautiful family, man. I know you loving that, bro.
Yeah, man. It's been good, man. All I can say is that, you know, the game has blessed me, you know, in a lot of different ways, and, you know, just trying to continue to give back and teach guys as, you know, as they come up and ask me questions, and just as much knowledge as I have, try to pass it forward.
I definitely appreciate you, bro. Real talk, man. It was great talking to you, bro. I know a lot of fans gonna love to hear these stories, man. But I definitely good luck to you, man, the rest of your career, bro. Stay healthy, man. Keep working, bro. And like I said, I appreciate you joining Go Terrapins and Travis Garrison on the Good Business Network.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate it, man. You got a good thing going, man. Keep it going.
Thanks a lot, bro. I appreciate you, bro.